What's up, guys? It's Diggo from SGN, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Justin Gaethe. Now, everybody knows that Justin Gaethe is one of the most savage men to ever enter the octagon. I mean, the way he fights just guarantees fireworks, guarantees people to absolutely have the time of their lives watching him fight. And it must be an absolute pleasure to watch the guy fight live, because he's literally, like his nickname says, he's the human highlight reel. I mean, the things that he does in there, the way he just goes forward regardless of how much of a beating he takes. And obviously, when he was monstrously rocked at the end by Dustin Poirier, he had no choice but to move backwards. But other than that, the guy just keeps on moving forward and keeps on taking punishment until he physically cannot take any more punishment. And it was just amazing to watch. It never gets old. It never gets old watching this guy fight. And you can tell based on the way he talks, like he really does not care about winning. It's not about winning or losing for him. It is only about becoming a legend, putting on fun fights, and everybody enjoying watching the guy fighting. I mean, hats off to him. Like, he's insane for saying that. He's insane for actually thinking like that. But hats off to him. If his goal is really just go out there and become a legend, he's going to achieve that goal. He's already almost guaranteed to achieve that damn goal. He's an insane fighter, really, really good, and I really enjoy watching him fight. So I look forward to seeing what he can continue to do. That brings me to my question, what can he actually do with that style? Can he actually get himself to the position of being in contention for a title shot? Now, obviously, if he'd have beaten Eddie Alvarez, he very likely would have gotten a title shot, just because his style guarantees a fun title fight, and obviously he would have earned it just in terms of beating one of the top guys in the UFC's toughest division. But, unfortunately for him, he got outbrawled by Eddie Alvarez, and then he got outbrawled by Dustin Poirier. So what can he really do with that style at the elite level? Well, if you match him up with Tony Ferguson, I don't think he beats Tony, because Tony Ferguson is very similar to him in the fact that he likes to brawl. He likes to brawl, but Tony Ferguson is more well-rounded. Yes, Justin Gaethje has really good wrestling, but he doesn't use it. He almost refuses to use it. He even says it himself, he's not gonna refuse to use wrestling. If it's necessary or if it flows into the fight, he's going to use wrestling, but he's never going to go after the wrestling. He's never going to be intentionally I'm going to take this guy down and beat him up. And obviously taking Tony Ferguson to the ground is probably a bad idea anyway because of how dangerous he is. But on the feet, he's no easier to beat. You know what I mean? Whether you fight him on the feet or you fight him on the ground, against Tony Ferguson, you're probably going to lose anyway. He's just that damn good. So I don't think that Justin Gaethje would beat Tony Ferguson. Now that Tony has a problem with his leg, maybe smashing him with leg kicks would work. Maybe. You look at this, it's kind of the same thing with Conor McGregor. It's no secret that Conor has a problem with his knee. He's always had it, even when, ever since he popped it against Max Holloway. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago? Maybe, probably 3 or 4. He popped his knee, and he's always had problems with it. Even when he fought Aldo, he had some leg problems. He's always had problems with that knee. So if Justin Gaethje gets a hold of him and starts just smashing that leg, that could be a big, big problem for Conor. Same thing with Tony. So his leg kicks are going to be a factor against just about anybody he fights, because there's really nobody who's capable of checking every single kick that gets thrown at him. And when you're a guy like Justin Gaethje who kicks so hard and is so technically great at throwing those leg kicks, you have a great chance of beating just about anybody. You saw against Dustin Poirier, he was very close to finishing him. If he'd have just spammed it a little bit more, he possibly would have been able to finish Dustin Poirier. And that would have been a huge feather in his cap and possibly gotten him a title shot. The fact that Eddie Alvarez had recently had that controversial fight with Dustin Poirier that ended with, Dustin Poirier, realistically being the winner. I know Eddie Alvarez losing to Justin Gaethje probably would have been a title shot for Justin Gaethje because of the way he fights. Now, right now we see Dustin Poirier having beaten Justin Gaethje, probably being the next in line for the title, considering Tony Ferguson and Conor are out. But, we'll see. Justin Gaethje, if he gets one, I would have to say now 2 big wins in a row, then he can definitely find himself in contention for a title shot. It's just, I don't really see him beating any of those guys really in the top 5. I don't think he beats Khabib. Matchup wise, it could be interesting. That's probably actually the most favorable matchup for him in terms of the elite guys, because his wrestling defense is really good, so he might be able to stifle Khabib. If he can do that on the feet, I think he'd make it really, really ugly against Khabib and beat him up. I think that Khabib would probably lose on the feet. But he'd have to stop a takedown. That's definitely not a given against Khabib, who is probably the best wrestler we've ever seen in mixed martial arts. in terms of pure wrestling. GSP, I would say, is probably better in terms of mixing it up because he can pretty much do anything with his wrestling from any position in any situation. Whereas Khabib, he very much likes to take people down against the cage, and it's a slow build up to the takedown. Whereas GSP can do it against the cage, he can do it in the middle of the octagon, he can do sweeps, he can do just about anything. Just amazing wrestler. Whereas Khabib is just a great pure wrestler. So that's probably a really tough matchup for Gaethje, but also for Khabib. If Gaethje can stop the takedowns, then he has a really good chance of winning that fight. Against Tony Ferguson, like I said, I don't think he's better than Tony on the feet. I don't think he's better than Tony on the ground. So, I don't know. I think a brawl against Tony Ferguson is a very bad idea, and I think that's one that he would lose. Against who else? Against Conor, I think he'd get knocked out because yes, he can take Conor to the ground, but Conor McGregor would not just stand in front of Gaethje. And if Gaethje can take it past the first round and a half, then definitely I would have to favor Gaethje in the long run, just in terms of the fact that Conor gets kind of tired, but if you look at them from skill to skill, have to give it to Conor because we know that Gaethje is not going to try to take him down. If he tries to take him down, then he definitely has a chance. But I think that on the feet, Conor's just he'd be too good, and he'd probably knock out Justin Gaethje, just to be honest. Other than that, who else is there? Eddie Alvarez rematch. Obviously, Eddie Alvarez I think would beat him. Dustin Poirier rematch. I would have to pick Dustin Poirier once again. There's really nobody else. There's nobody other than that. Like Edson Barboza would be a fun fight. Like, would he beat Edson Barboza? I don't know. They definitely haven't fought yet. But would he beat Edson Barboza? I don't know. Edson Barboza has leg kicks of his own, and he's very dangerous. But he has a problem with people smothering him. He has a very big problem with people smothering him. So we'll see what happens there. It would be interesting. It'd definitely be interesting. But I think that Gaethje would have a very, very interesting fight with him. I think I'd have to favor Edson Barboza in that one, too. Just because Edson's more well-rounded, man. He just is. Now, excuse me, Edson Barboza's guard isn't insane, but like I said, he's not going to the ground. It's just going to be a stand-up fight, and he's going to have Justin Gaethje in his face constantly. And Barboza's kicks could be a factor there because Justin Gaethje's defense isn't great. It's just not great, so we'd have to see. But I think that everybody in the top 5 has a pretty solid chance of beating him, has a pretty solid chance of beating Justin Gaethje. So I don't think there's going to be a top 5. I don't think he's going to be a champion in the UFC, but like he said himself, that's not even his objective. He's not there to be a champion. He's not there to be the greatest fighter of all time. He's there to be the most entertaining fighter of all time. He's there to be a legend just because of the fact that every time that he put on a fight, you wanted to watch. He's kind of like Cowboy in the sense that Cowboy takes so many risks, he's probably never going to be a champion. He's had his title shots, which is something that I don't think that Justin Gaethje is going to get in the UFC. But Cowboy was never quite able to to reach the pinnacle. Excuse me once again. I can't get rid of this cough. Anyway, I don't think Justin Gaethje can reach the pinnacle. Unfortunately, I just don't think he can because the style's there, the intensity's there, the skills just aren't quite there, in my opinion. I think that the grit's there as well, man. The grit is absolutely there. He has the heart to go as far as a man could possibly go. But skill for skill against the elite guys, I just don't think it's there. I think he takes too many risks. Smart fight. Well, even like Tony Ferguson, who is a guy who takes a lot of risks, he's still very smart and very calculated in what he does. He tries to get people to second guess themselves on the feet, to take him to the ground so he can just absolutely torture them with elbows on the ground. But Justin Gaethje doesn't play that game. He does not play that game. If he's hurt, he's going to stay there. He's going to stay on his feet and try to brawl with you even when he's really, really hurt. Whereas Tony Ferguson, he would do front flips to go to the ground. He would try to pull guard. He would do whatever it takes to get the win. Whereas Justin Gaethje, he goes out there and he just tries to put on the best show possible. That's not a bad thing. But in terms of like actual title contention, it's just not going to work. And we've seen people do it before, and there's a reason that style of fighting has gone extinct. Nobody really fights like that anymore, and there's a reason for it. So Justin Gaethje, you are one hell of a fighter. I'm absolutely honored to be able to watch your fights, and it's a pleasure to watch you continue on. You apparently Justin Gaethje apparently only wants 5 more fights before he probably calls it quits. And I can't really blame him for that. He's going to make quite a bit of money just based on performance of the nights bonuses and fight of the nights and fight of the year possibly. So he definitely is going to make plenty of money versus on bonuses. And he definitely earned it. He definitely earned himself a spot as a legend of mixed martial arts. Not because of the results, but based on the pure fact that every time that guy fights, you want to be watching. You do not want to take your eyes off of that damn screen. So let me know in the comment section down below, guys, what you guys think that Justin Gaethje can do. Is he possibly going to be a title contender, or has he sort of reached the max of his potential, and is he just going to be continuing to put on amazing fights throughout the rest of his career? If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can see a lot of content based on MMA and all other sports stuff that we put up. We put up a lot of stuff. Definitely going to be kicking on from now on to the summer. I have a lot more time on my hands, and it's definitely going to be a hell of a lot of content coming your way. So hopefully you guys will tune in and will subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.